Thank you, Darren.
Hey,
Pleased to be here.
all right, cool. Don, I have to admit that I do not know swords very well. I know the town main street, but that's most of what I know. Can you start off, Don, by telling me and our listeners what is this area, Usher's Lake, and the area around it in the Ward River Valley in swords, and then tell me what is your problem with the area in more recent times?
Well, this area up in Usher's Lake, it dates back probably 300 or 400 years, back to Robert Molesworth. I think Molesworth Street in town is named after him. But there is historical. Robert Molesworth, he brought in a landscaper, and he did wonderful thing with the gardens. He built an artificial lake on the top, so that for a view from the house, Brackenstown House, view down into Swords, and apparently it was a wonderful view from the house. It was kind of like a pool that you could see the reflection and everything. But obviously he spent a lot of money doing that. He put in. He diverted the river near Nokshidan Bridge, which is, just off from Brackenstown House, and he put in a tuck mill, which pumped water up to a big water system, and he stored that, to irrigate the gardens, to provide water for this artificial lake on top of the hill. So he really, that was his passion, was gardening anyway.
Yeah. So the area has a long history, 300-400 years, yeah?
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay, can you tell me kind of, not necessarily the last few years, but in more recent times, how has it developed?
Well, recently, Fingal County Council have, you see, if I go back to, say, the 1980s, I think part of the land where there was an old mill down from the Brackenstown House, and it was getting in a dilapidated condition. And I don't know if you've heard of Sam Stevenson, the architect, but he bought it. And he knocked the old mill, and I think he wanted to build a health spa or something like that on the site. And he put up it was like a mass concrete thing, but it kept getting broken into. It was very hard to secure the area because it was the entrances all over the place. I'm just trying to think of the. So from 1980s, this mill that was knocked down, and then Sam Stephen was eventually told to knock down his place because a few people had broken in, had been drinking, and I think somebody fell from a height and was killed there. So that he was told to get rid of it. Anyway, let's put it that way. So more or less, it was just when that was got rid of, there was just the sluice gates for the old mill were still there, but it was it got very dilapidated. So the council in the recent times, in the last couple of years, have done up the sluice gates. Lovely job was done, but after that, it seems to have just been left, and that's a couple of years ago now, and now a lot of people go down there and walk their dogs because it's a lovely, peaceful area, scenic. And they built. I think it was Fingal County Council must have made an agreement with the owner of Brackenstown House, who's Paddy Campbell, who owns Bewley's.
Okay.
They must have had an agreement where they put a pathway along the edge of the lake which was going to lead up to the walled gardens, which were part of the old estate where the tuck mill had pumped the water up to, as I was mentioning earlier. So, and then out of the blue, about a year ago, the little wooden bridge that they'd built and the pathway disappeared. And no one seems to know why or what happened. But now the pathway has been completely blocked. A fallen tree has been lifted by a JCB and put across the pathway. And also where water springs were on the bank of the hill, and they have been blocked off, so the pathway is now flooding. So it's just hard to understand what has happened between the owner of Brackenstown and the Fingal County Council. And there's nothing coming from the councillors. We can't find any. All we are told was the bridge was removed by unknown persons. But a lot of the residents in the estate up there, Knockshidan Domain it's called, they saw the people removing the bridge and questioned them, and they were just told they were doing what they were told to do by their boss. So we don't know. We don't know what the reason behind it was. There's rumours that it could have been somebody had a claim in, and neither side wanted to take responsibility for the claim. But that's only, I have no idea whether that's true or not.
Okay, Don, for how long were the public able to use this area as a kind of nature walkway before what's happened recently?
Oh, how would I put it? I'm walking there for the last 20 odd years. When the Swords was being developed out to the west, the place Swords Manor was built, and the old Brackenstown Road was rerouted, and there's a couple of small little roundabouts were placed there. So where there was 3 cottages and the entrance down into where the old mill was, that was I mean, it was never locked. Let's put it that way. The entrance into it was obviously that part of the estate. Paddy Campbell must have sold it to Sam Stevenson, and so that entrance was more or less wide open. And people have come down there, walked around the lake, up to Knockshidan. There'd be wooded trails, and which, going back to 200 or 300 years, those trails were put in by Robert Molesworth so that people could, obviously guests of his, could enjoy the estate. And apparently, what's his name? I can't think of his name now, but anyway, the
fellow that owns Beauties.
No. This was what was it? Oh yeah, Dean Swift. You know, he used to go up there. Obviously, he knew the Molesworths, and apparently after Molesworth died, a person called Richard Manders bought the place, and he was the Lord Mayor of Dublin. And he built a graveyard there in Brackenstown Estate, and there are 5 or 6 family members are buried there. But access to it now is almost impossible because there are double gates, and although it says perpetual access has been granted to the Manders family, I don't think they can get in. So there, as I say, there's family members of theirs that they can't get to. But,
when you say, Don, you're using the area for the last 20 years,
yeah.
Could it go back longer? That Like, I mean,
Oh yes,
it has been in the past available for decades, over a century maybe, was it?
oh yes, yeah. Because I moved into I lived in the stables area. There's a house in the stable yard, and I lived in that house from 1967 to 1972, and that was because the owner of the estate then was Dr. Raymond Cross. He was the assistant master of the Rotunda Hospital, but he died in '69, and obviously when the lease ran out, his wife had died before him, and he had 4 children, and I don't think they had any interest in running it as a going concern, so they sold it. And the person that bought it was he owned a 44 pub. It used to be called the Hawthorne Hotel.
I don't know. Go on, yeah.
No, but as I say, that chap he wanted to he wanted to turn Brackenstown House into a hotel, but he was turned down by the council, so he sold it onwards to Paddy Campbell, and that was around 1980-81 that Paddy Campbell bought it, and as I say, it's been in his ownership since then. And there's never been any problems, as far as I can see. You know, people just wandering through, walking their dog, enjoying the wildlife and everything. But everything seems to have taken off now at the moment. As I say, pathways blocked. And only recently in the bloom, you know, the Board Beer bloom in the Phoenix Park.
Yeah.
They won. Fingal County Council won an award for a display of a walled garden, which is what their plan was in the first place, was to put this walled garden together, you know, because at the moment it was only empty. So we just. But it seems strange that now that all hell seems to have broken loose, and you know, the 300-year-old walk around the artificial lake, there's been a big crater dug there so that people definitely cannot walk by there anymore. And I would have thought it was a historical structure, you know, which is, it's very sad to see it. But as I say, I don't know the background to why he would have done that. But it's just sad. It's just sad to see it.
Yeah, it's impossible for me to visualize what the area looks like because I've never been there. But and like as you know, we could get into speculation. We could be doing that for hours.
Exactly. Oh yes, yeah. And it's only speculation.
Yeah, but like I'm surprised that none of the councillors or TDs in your area have taken the issue up. Have they not? No.
Well, I'm sure. The pathway and the wooden bridge that they built would have been it wouldn't be cheap anyway. Let's put it that way. And for then the wooden bridge to suddenly disappear, and the head of the Parks Department stated that it was removed by unknown persons. And you kind of say, well, what did the guards have to say? You know, that's what I'm sure. You would wonder why the guards were not called in, and kind of who damaged the recent infrastructure, and nothing. The councillors up to that point were quite good. You'd get them, they'd come and they'd answer your queries, but now there's nothing. It's just as if you've been told, don't say a word, you know, that kind of way. And once again, that's only speculation. But we can't get any answers as to why this area has been closed off, why the bridge was removed, why the plans for this walled garden that they intend to open up have gone. And there was a huge big display down in Fingal County Council offices showing the model of where the walkway was going to go up to through Brackenstown, along by the Usher's Lake, and where the sluice gates had been repaired and brought up to modern day standards, and all that seems to be gone now. So it seems what a lot of money gone into something that we don't no longer. The owner doesn't want people to go there anymore. Obviously.
Um, was the area used by like dozens of people regularly walking their dogs, for example, or are we talking more than dozens of people, or loads of people?
I'd say dozens. I wouldn't go into hundreds. No, it was. You see, as well as the work they did, there was the cherry laurel. It's an invasive species, and whilst the council were putting the pathways in, they removed a lot of all of the cherry laurel, but that was over probably a year and a half, 2 years ago, and now it's growing back again. So there doesn't seem to be any maintenance of any of the works that they've done, and we just can't get answers as what has happened. Because I've met Paddy Campbell a couple of times, and he seems a very nice man. And what we're seeing now looks to me to be completely out of character for him. So, obviously something seriously has gone on that we don't know, and we'd love to get to the bottom of because it's only through talking that this place is going to be restored to what, there's a lot of money been spent on sluice gates, repairing pathways and all that type of stuff. And as I say, the route up to the wall garden. And now that's all for nothing. What a waste of money if we can't get a solution to what's gone on.